Thank you for being here, folks. Thank you for tuning in. This is wordofhonor.org program sponsored by the Sunshine of the Americas, and we are so grateful for the Sunshine of the Americas Foundation. They supply me with funds so I can do shows and go out and witness to people. They provide for me a paycheck so that I can do good deeds. And one of the good deeds is doing this TV show. My name is Reverend Danny DeGoog, and I am an interfaith minister, as well as a health inspector, a musician and artist. And I've worked very hard throughout my life to spread the gospel of community so that the communities could be touched and blessed. That is my deepest prayer in life, is that we can become one in oneness and in love. Talking about oneness and love, I want to bring up this expression here, which is the expression of today's TV show. It's called purity of motive. What does purity of motive mean to you? Well, let's look at some activities in today's TV show, and let's examine the words of Donald Trump. Let's look at some of his words, and let's see what these words measure up to. Let's see if he has purity of motive. But we don't understand it until it becomes action. But let's look at this here. Okay, we're going to bring it up on the screen. I'm going to enlarge this here. And I'm going to bring in Donald Trump talking about what he loves to talk about. And we'll hear his words right now. Here we go. Donald, what do you want to tell us, Donald? Speak up to us, brother.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
Now, what did he say? Can you repeat that? It only took 14 seconds, Mike. Can you, engineer, please? Michael, can you bring it back? Let's do it again.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
Now, he looks like a saint there. And we also have many people making statements, and we're holding this to Donald Trump, that as he was on Oprah shows, on the Oprah shows, you know Oprah? He was on those shows at times, and she liked him, and so do a lot of other African Americans like Donald Trump. I'm not saying that she voted for him now, but there is good qualities in Donald Trump that we have to admit, and we have to be pure in our motives when we're looking at something and examining an idea and making a judgment. Let's take, for example, as we do things relative here on educational entertainment, let's look at our water, let's look at our soil, and let's look at our food supplies. Let's look at the water supplies, let's look at the soils that we have, the soil, the earth for farming, and let's also look at what comes out of that soil. Let's look at our food supplies. What on earth are we doing about our soil? What on earth are we doing about our food supplies? And what in heaven are we doing about our water supplies? What do we have to stand up for as Americans? We have a choice. We can make a choice. We can make America better and better and better in our own purity of motive. Let's look at those words again from Donald Trump, and let's listen to those words. Those are great words. Here we go. Bring them back on the screen, Michael. Thank you, Michael.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad.
Now, when we think of our water supply in the city, when we think of the water supply here in Cambridge, Massachusetts, it still has the contaminant of chlorine in it, which causes brain damage. Should chlorine be in our water? Absolutely not. It should not be in our water supply. How can we get it out of our water supply? Well, at my houses, I own 2 houses. At one house, I have a shower filter. So anyone that comes and visits that house, lives in that house, has pure water with no chlorine coming out. And the drinking water supply has an excellent water filter where there is no lead and there's no chlorination. And what we need to have a water supply that is perfect. And the only way we're going to be able to do that in a year or so is for every United States citizen of America to go out and get some kind of water filter to take good care of your drinking supply. But believe it or not, some scientists have told me through the internet that the water coming from the showers is absorbed through your pores and goes readily into your blood, more so than when you're drinking a gallon or a quart of water or an 8-ounce glass of water. It is more readily introduced into your body through a shower, through your pores. So it's something to think about. It's important to get hip to having a shower filter and enjoy that wonderful, clean, refreshing water that you can make in your own home. So then you're doing something about the problem as an American to put up that wall between you and the reservoir of the city of Cambridge or the city of New York so that you can make the finest and cleanest possible water that you can drink and shower in. Think about it. Do it for yourself. There's an expression in the Bible to love your neighbor, another expression to love your creator, but also there's another expression to love yourself. To love yourself, not in a conceited way, but in a divinely authorized, intelligent way. To make sure you get yourself a water filter, save up your pennies and your nickels and dimes, get yourself a decent filter, and if it's only a water filter for drinking at first, fine. Then build it up and search the internet, or get somebody to search the internet for you and purchase a nice shower filter so you can have that luxury of wonderful, delicious showering water on your beautiful body. I hope the best for you. Now we're going to go back, I'm going to listen a little bit more of Donald, then we're going to switch over to my good brother, the interfaith minister that I've ordained, Martin Luther King. So here we go. We're going to go over to Donald again. We're going to listen to a little bit more of Mr. Trump's speech.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long. We're going to...
The KKK endorses Hillary Clinton. We have given her $20,000 anonymously for her campaign fund. She is friends with Clinton. You know, a lot of people don't realize that. What all this stuff she's saying now, she's saying so she can get into office. Okay? She doesn't care about it. She doesn't. She's acting like she does so she can get into office. And once she's into the office, then she'll implement her policies. She's a Democrat. The Klan has always been a democratic organization.
Now, we're going to take that with a pinch of salt and a pinch of hot pepper. You know, we don't know what the whole story there is. I love my sister Hillary Clinton. I don't believe everything that I hear about her. and I would defend her wisely in a communication discussion, as I am doing right now as a presentation on community TV. This is community. We're not here to belittle somebody in an unforgiving way, but we're here to honor the truth and see what happens as we give Donald Trump a chance. You've heard about giving peace a chance. Donald Trump says he wants to help the African American community in the inner cities because they have been so abused for so long. Let's see what he does, what his plan will be as the first few 100 days unravel in the White House. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to bring in my brother, the Reverend Martin Luther King. And let's see, I'm going to bring in a particular piece of music that's associated with his movement, with their movement of the civil rights. And we're going to enlarge this on the screen. And here we go.
There's a little song within our breast with words of hope and love. The melody blends as we join hands with faith in God above. Dr. Martin Luther King now tells us of this song.
There's a little song that we sing in our movement down in the South. I don't know if you've heard it, but it has become the theme song. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome. Though I join hands so often with students and others behind jail bars singing it, we shall overcome. Sometimes we've had tears in our eyes when we joined together to sing it, but we still decided to sing it. We shall overcome. No, before this victory is won, some will have to get thrown in jail some more, but we shall overcome.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. So as we're thinking of that thought, I'm going to bring this back to a person who made a statement a moment ago. And we're going to look at the psychology of all of this and try to understand it in relationship to the proof is in the pudding. Okay.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
Now, have you ever heard a white U.S. president, speak that way, so firmly and so considerately about the situation of our inner cities? I don't recall it. I'm not saying it didn't happen. Maybe Richard Nixon, maybe Johnson, maybe Kennedy, maybe Reagan, maybe Bush, maybe Clinton. But there's something about purity of motive. That's our phrase for today, our phrase. Let's go over here. Maybe we can find something else as we're skipping along. So, as we know, here's a picture of Hillary Clinton. Let's bring her up. Yeah, we have a picture of Hillary. God bless her soul. God bless her. But this particular film footage does not speak well of Hillary in relationship to her ties with the Ku Klux Klan, So, it's questionable about whether this information about her is true, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to judge. We want to be fair, and we want to be fair to people like Martin Luther King and Donald Trump.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
So, what we need to do is we need to keep hope alive. That's something that Martin Luther King would want us all to keep faith in, is to keep hope alive and to keep on working with the concept of development. How do we develop our inner cities? as I had mentioned earlier, our water supply, our food supply, our soil supply, our inner self supply, our inner souls need to be supplied. And that's why at wordofhonor.org, when you become an interfaith minister, you develop skills to get rid of all that spiritual pollution that separates us from one another. When you become an interfaith minister, you're building a bridge. You are building the community up. You're not bringing it down, you're building it up. With wordofhonor.org, you will be blessed. You will find yourself ordained. You will find yourself legally ordained to perform weddings, to do baby blessings, start your own nonprofit, lifting yourself up. But more importantly than all that I had just mentioned, you will be able to build bridges in the inner city, in the outer city, throughout the local county and beyond. You will be able to help America become really great again. Was it really this great? I wonder, this is really getting great when we understand interfaith. So come and visit me at wordofhonor.org, where it's very easy for you to be an ordained interfaith minister, and it's your personal responsibility to work at it day by day, month by month, year after year, and build up a community. You can do this and you can start your own nonprofit. It's a beautiful adventure being a spiritually minded person, being sensitive, and if you hear the calling, if you feel the urge, don't just sit there or lay there or stand there and not think about writing down wordofhonor.org, and get your document for free today at wordofhonor.org. And while you're there, get the letter of good standing that you give your word of honor to, that you do want to be a faithful servant of divine love, and spread during your lifetime the concept of the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. Not just a brotherhood, but the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. My name is Reverend Danny DeGood. I'm glad you're tuning in today. I'm going to pluck out of my educational entertainment center here. Let's see if I can pluck out a nice piece of information about Martin again, because we're celebrating this week in honor of my brother, Martin Luther King. Let's see here. Oh yes, we're going to take this out. We're going to listen to some of this speech now. Here we go. We'll bring this up. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and here we go.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will they be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day.
Now he's saying brotherhood, and that's great. But in the 21st century, we not only say brotherhood, and I'm sure Martin Luther King was sitting right next to me today, he'd say, and sisterhood, because he understands. He was a great man of understanding, and he had to use common sense dealing with the particular problems of racism in those days, and to get one foot in the door. He understood common sense, and he understood tactfulness. And we have to understand how to be tactful too. As interfaith ministers, we keep our own personality. I'm a Christian minister. I love my faith in Christ. You're a Muslim. You love your faith in Allah. Allah is my creator, just like it's your creator. Allah is the Father to us. It's the same personality. How so? When you're dealing with transcendental psychology, which I am sometimes an expert in, because I've studied it for so long, You get to interpret the realities of the innermost consciousness, and you're not dealing with verbalism. You're dealing with consciousness. Consciousness, the psychology of consciousness. And so people that are Muslims, when they say, I love Allah, and I say, I love the Father, it's the same experience spiritually on psychological levels. It's the same person. And this is the beauty of the brotherhood and the sisterhood of humanity. Not only are we talking about men that are brothers, we include our sisters. We ought to respect, open the door sometimes for a woman when we see her coming, she's pregnant or she's elderly. We want to do something out of respect. We do that for men as well. But we do, when we see an impregnated woman, when we see that she's 7 months pregnant, we do a courtesy. And women should allow us to be what we are. We want to be courteous. Stop looking down on the idea of this and labeling it like, sexist or something. That's screwy. That has nothing to do with the real spiritual experience and the real social experience of the brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. There are respectful things to do, respectful actions to give out when we have these situations where a woman is limited, and we do it out of love, out of courtesy, and it's a social grace. Don't try to take away social graces because of your political correctness. That is unsuitable, and it's inhumane, and it's unbecoming. And you can go on and on and on and on and on with your rhetoric. Go ahead. I know whereof I speak. So as we go back here to our dear brother, let's listen to what he has to say.
Even the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom and justice. I have a dream that my four little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day, down in Alabama, with its vicious racists, with its governor having his lips dripping with the words of interposition and nullification. One day right there in Alabama, little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as sisters and brothers. I have a dream today.
Outstanding. Beautiful. We love it. Let's go back to Mr. Trump for psychological reasons, and sociological values. Let's see what Mr. Trump was saying there that day. And we hope that he keeps his word. And we know that he has kept his word in many, many, many situations. Now, we could say, oh, he didn't keep his word on this and that. Well, we're going to see with this human being, because they're only human beings. Martin Luther King, he was a human being. He wasn't like a super angel from Havana. He's a human being. People picked on him too. They blamed him and they picked on him. They try to lower his moral integrity. I don't pay attention to that. He is a great man, Martin Luther King. So
We're going to...
let's bring it back.
We're going to rebuild our inner cities, which are absolutely a shame and so sad. We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
So now we're going to bring it back to Martin Luther King. Let's bring it back to Martin Luther King Jr.
Every hill and mountain shall be made low, the rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is the faith that I go back to the South with this faith. We will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangling discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we will be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that we will be free one day.
Fantastic speech. And we use this for only educational, entertainment reasons, strictly educational, and sometimes entertaining. You may feel goose pimples when you hear Martin Luther King speak. You know, you may not care about it at all. I happen to feel inspired every time I hear that speech. My brothers and sisters, I invite you to the greatest freedom that I know of for women and men who want to exercise their ministry on a legal level, because I don't charge any money for you to download the certificate at wordofhonor.org. You can go to wordofhonor.org. You can volunteer in different ways, but if you want to be a minister that's perfectly legal and you start your ministry now, I ordain you an interfaith minister by the structural reality of the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion. I can do it with my word as I say it right now. But for your own sake, come and visit wordofhonor.org. Download it for free. Get that legal license. Get involved with performing rituals that you believe on an interfaith level. Invite people in your community to join your interfaith temple and start making America great. Make it great, greater than it's ever been. Not great again, but greater than it's ever been. That's our goal, is to make America beautiful. So my brothers and sisters, my name is Reverend Danny DeGoog. Thank you for tuning in, and I love you.